everyone, it is Dani'i and welcome to this update video this morning. I hope that you're doing great. And we're going to be talking about both of these systems with focus being on Invest 98L. That is our Caribbean disturbance. And it seems as though Jamaica will be taking a pretty decent hit from the system, regardless of it trying to develop into a tropical cyclone or not. Of course, it acquiring tropical depression or even tropical storm status over the next day, that would enhance the impacts. But regardless, dangerous rainfall amounts are going to be likely across the island. And the GFS model in particular, GFS was consistent that the bulk of rainfall would be for the easterly parishes of Portland and St. Thomas and also over into sections of Haiti. But in the updates last evening, the model has made a shift and is now expecting something a bit similar to Euro and Icon, because they have been showing a lot of the activity moving through the island, those pretty high rainfall totals as well. But now GFS is starting to show that with even higher rainfall totals for the next 2 days. So we're going to be taking a look at all of that in this update video. Firstly, let us go ahead and kickstart things with the disturbance just in the vicinity of Florida. So we're looking at these satellite imagery, and here we can see all of this activity. So there has been a lot of heavy rainfall across sections of Florida and even the Bahamas into this morning. A lot of heavy rainfall across many of the islands, and those gusty winds as well, those rough seas offshore of the southeastern U.S. states. But this is going to be moving out, and eventually conditions will gradually improve. That improvement has started for some areas, especially over the western side of Florida, but some areas are still likely experiencing some heavy rainfall this morning. And then if you look closely in the Gulf, there is that area of low pressure and all that sheared off activity. So that area of low pressure is going to be dissipating very soon. Not a problem, not marked as a disturbance to watch or anything of the sort. It is in a way too hostile environment for any sort of tropical development. And in terms of that area which is marked for development, it is unlikely that we're going to be seeing any sort of tropical cyclone formation from that area. So let's see what happens over the coming days, and there's only a 10% chance of that happening. Now let us drift into the vicinity of the Caribbean. Let's start with the eastern islands, and then we'll go further toward the west. So here we can see that there is a lot of activity coming in from the Atlantic that is already inducing some heavy rainfall across portions of Trinidad and Tobago, and then eventually for the Grenadines, Grenada, even for St. Vincent, even potentially for Barbados, St. Lucia as well. There could be some rainfall activity through today. ABC Islands pretty dry with much not happening. Let us head a bit further toward the west. There we can see Haiti and the Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos Islands, and some spots in the southern Bahamas not experiencing much this morning either. There is our area of concern, Invest 98L. So we can see that it isn't organized. We're not seeing any clear counterclockwise rotation to say that yes, this is a developing tropical cyclone. It has its chance. I will point that out. It has its chance. And matter of fact, it was decreasing for a bit, but it has been stagnant at 50% and is now at 50-50 through both 2 days and 7 days. We could see this develop. And the National Hurricane Center has stated that a mission by the hurricane hunters is scheduled for later today. So we'll get some more insight on what is going on inside of the system here. But we can see that some of this activity is already moving into parts of Jamaica, bringing a bit of rainfall. This is nothing compared to what's coming, by the way, later today and especially into tomorrow. And even in the vicinity of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, especially the Cayman and Cayman Brac, we're seeing that there is some convection nearby as well. As I said, for the Bahamas, there's all of that activity. And then as we head into parts of Central America, things have cleared up for some areas. There's still some rainfall activity and a couple of thunderstorms popping up here and there, but for the most part, nothing too crazy is going on. Let's look at what the Euro is forecasted in terms of the rainfall through today. So we can see that a lot more rainfall is expected across sections of eastern Florida, especially going toward the northern Bahamas with that disturbance within the area. Even across Cuba as well, there could be a lot of heavy rain, and with that disturbance, there we're also seeing Jamaica in some of those burgundy and purple shades. So as I said, some areas will likely experience some flooding starting today, and things will only worsen as we head into tomorrow. So a lot of heavy rainfall is likely later today across many parishes, especially southern parishes. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Going over into Central America, Across portions of Mexico going towards Guatemala, we could see some decent downpours at times. For Belize, including the Keys as well, and even over into El Salvador, a whole lot of rainfall is not expected, but there could still be some showers moving through here and there. Then as we head into parts of the Bay Islands of Honduras itself, especially the northern part of the country, sections of Nicaragua, and down into Costa Rica and Panama, there could be a lot of heavy rainfall across some spots, and even for the offshore islands of San Andres and Providencias, those islands are right in the vicinity of that disturbance, so there could be some periods of some heavy downpours at times as we head through today. Then, as I said earlier, over in sections of the eastern islands, especially the Windward Islands, there's likely to be all that heavy rain, including Trinidad and Tobago, potentially for sections of northern South America as well, Colombia, Venezuela, the Guyanas, especially the northern part of the Guyanas, and up into the Leeward Islands, though. Antigua, Barbuda, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, St. Eustatius, going towards St. Martin, St. Bartholomew, and Anguilla, there's not likely to be much happening. It's a similar story as we head toward Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, most of Hispaniola, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and then down into the ABC Islands as well. Now let's go on to the latest from the National Hurricane Center, after which we'll be looking at some model data. So here we can see, as I said, it is holding on to that 50% chance of possible development into a tropical cyclone, and models are showing something quite interesting. So on the intensity guidance here, we can see that this green area represents tropical storm force winds, and we can see that models are showing that this could become a tropical storm. A couple saying a hurricane. I'm really not expecting a hurricane to become off this system, but I think a tropical storm is possible, as we're seeing 50% chance. Let's see what recon is going to find later today. As we go on to the track guidance, take a look at this. The bulk of these are tight. When these models are tight, that track is solid toward the northeast. We can see that airflow pressure is expected to make its way over Jamaica, then to eastern Cuba, potentially for the southern Bahamas. So that is likely right now. This is likely going to be moving over Jamaica with all of that activity moving in. And as I've been saying, many persons are underestimating what this could do, downplaying the situation, because it is not a tropical storm or hurricane, but that is not needed for the severe flooding to take place. And as I speak, let's take a look at what the GFS has been showing. So this is the latest update with the rainfall totals expected through to tomorrow evening, not Saturday, not Sunday, through to tomorrow evening. GFS is showing that across some areas there could be rainfall totals up to 20 inches. That is absolutely insane. And I mean, the Icon and Euro, they're not showing totals that high. Nonetheless, significant flooding. Notice that we're seeing that grayish bluish shade across most of the island, and even those purple shades, that burgundy shade as well. And the ODPEM, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, has issued their warning to persons who live in low-lying and flood-prone areas to be ready to evacuate. So that includes having an emergency kit and having all the essentials, as well, your important files and documents, and something that is safe and waterproof, and just being ready to take action should in case things get messy out there, because I mean, they have deployed their teams as well, but we want to avoid putting other person's lives at risk. So if you know that you're in such an area, please do as they say. It's better to be safe than to be sorry. So a lot of heavy rainfall is coming, a lot of flooding is likely to be unleashed, and even those landslides as well. So it is best to be in a very safe location. And I was hoping that the Ministry of Education would be canceling schools today, but I haven't seen any news regarding that. I don't know what the schools themselves are doing, if they're acting based on the weather expected. But again, this is not getting much attention just because it is not a tropical storm or a hurricane. So that is why many persons are downplaying what it can do. They're just thinking that it's just going to be a little bit of afternoon showers, when that's not the case. And then when the real deal unfolds, many persons are surprised. But I am here. I have been emphasizing this for some time, guys, and I mean, the most I can do is give you the information, and you decide what action you take based on what you're presented with. So that is pretty much what I wanted to share with you in this update video. Please be safe as best as you can. Protect yourself, protect your loved ones, and please don't leave out your pets. But that is pretty much it for this update. So I hope you found this to be quite informative. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll respond to you when I can. And remember to always be weatherwise.